Good morning, everyone. Tom C. here again for another awesome, informative-filled video, or I should say information-filled video. There you go. See, I'm not even going to edit my little bloopers. I just keep it real, you know. It's why I called it the ultimate truth, because I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you my opinion. I'm going to tell you facts. And I've seen a lot of things in my almost 52 years of being alive. And I just want to share some stuff with you folks. Maybe I can help somebody out. You know, maybe I can help you avoid a bad situation. So we're going to talk about marriage and divorce. And I have to include divorce because most marriages in America end in divorce for one reason or another. There's a lot of those marriages that when they're ending, there are children involved. And that just tears apart a family. Of course, nobody walks down the aisle with, you know, the hopes or the knowledge of being divorced or filing for divorce in a few years, but it happens. It happens way too often. I'm glad I've never been divorced. I've never been married, but I had long-time relationships, and you're basically getting a divorce without the judge. It's very similar, but you're not legally on the hook, so you know it's definitely better for when something ends, of course. But yeah, too many marriages are ending, and too many people don't have any respect. They don't know what the sanctity of marriage is. They cheat. People like to cheat. Whether you're a man or woman, doesn't matter. If you get caught cheating in your relationship, you've ruined your marriage. I shouldn't say relationship, I should say marriage. You've ruined your marriage if you're the one that cheats and gets caught, plain and simple. If you're just a bad attituded, abusive motherfucker, it's you. But there are some cases where the people just grow to dislike one another. The couple, they grow to dislike one another, and it ends in divorce. Nothing but arguing all the time, and dirty looks, and bad aura in the house, and all that stuff. And that also sucks, because a lot of times that happens very quick, 3 to 5 years. That's what I've read. A lot of times the women initiate. There is a trend going on where, you know, the woman doesn't like the guy, she gets rid of him, or files for divorce, thinking she's gonna be, you know, she's gonna find Prince Charming. She usually doesn't. But that's it for another topic. Another video. All I know is it's a shit show. A friend of mine went through a divorce, and I saw it, and he had an easy divorce, and it was still a shit show. I'm so happy I would never have to go through that. And if you want to know why a lot of people are not getting married nowadays, that's why. The people, like 25-year-olds now, have been watching their whole lives everybody getting divorced. Well, half the kids in their school are, the parents are probably divorced. It's a normal thing. People just throw marriage away. They just chuck it. You spend all this money on a fancy wedding, and 5 years, it's a pile of shit, and your marriage is a pile of shit, and now you got, what, 2 kids? Yeah, good. Guess what? Someone's paying child support. Someone is not getting full custody of those kids. Someone may have to pay alimony. If you're a man, now let's say if you're a man, and you were married, and nobody cheated, but your marriage just fell apart because you both fell out of love or didn't like each other anymore, which very commonly happens. And nobody's an asshole for it either. Sometimes people just grow apart, and it is what it is. Maybe you marry the wrong person. The sex is explosive, but they're just not the right person, you know. Let's say you're that guy, and let's say you got 3 kids. That's very common. Now you're divorced. Your ex-wife has custody, and you work your ass off, and you have to pay child support and alimony. How are you supposed to rent your apartment? How are you supposed to feed yourself? How are you supposed to survive being alone? You can't. It makes you so broke that you're unable to pay these things. It puts you in massive debt. Hey, if you don't pay child support, they'll lock you in jail. Yeah, you're not going to be there forever, but the point being is they'll bring you to jail for past due child support. Man, talk about getting married and having children, which can end up ruining your life. It can end up just ruining your life. And I'm not telling nobody not to get married. If that's what you really want and you think you met the right one, and be my guest. Everybody does what they want. It's your money. It's your decision. It's your life. So everybody, you're all entitled to do whatever you want. But don't wonder why people aren't getting married as much anymore. The divorce rate is just ridiculously high. I mean, if those were your odds for something else, you might be like, those are crappy odds. Why would I even bother? It's the same thing. The odds are not in your favor. And, people have no respect for each other. They think they could just sneak around and do whatever they want. And people have always cheated. But nowadays with social media, which I'll make a social media video that I think you all are really going to like in the very near future. But with social media, it makes it so easy to cheat. Everybody's dying for validation. And being a working husband, for example, I mean, you'll love your wife, but you may not come home and give her the same validation that 100 or 200 likes on Facebook gives her. For whatever reason, whether it's a sexy photo, whatever, it doesn't even matter. Social media helps ruin marriages. It's a proven fact. But I say don't get married, because if your relationship fails, you don't have to go to court over it. You don't have to, but you gotta watch. You won't have to pay alimony, but if you have kids, someone's paying that child support. And it's probably going to be you, the man. So just be careful. Be careful. It's a rotten world out there, and you really got to watch your own self. This is not the 1950s where you get married till death do you part and you have a long time marriage, and like the old days, Some of you young people don't know what I'm talking about because you weren't born yet. I remember being a kid. People were married 40, 50 years. They were married till they died. It plain and simple. They grew to be old, and they died, and they were still married. Till death did they part is really where you're at with that. That's very rare nowadays, and it's very sad. But, will I get married? No. It's just, but would I, stay with somebody? Absolutely. I would treat it as a marriage. It's just not going to be a marriage on paper, because, when you sign your name on the dotted line, sometimes it fucks you. So it's not worth it. It's not worth it. With the way relationships end and people throw each other away nowadays, why would I sign my name on the dotted line for that shit? I don't know. I'm getting older. I'm a middle-aged guy. I've seen a lot of things. I'm not as bright-eyed and optimistic as a young person, as the younger version of me. And this is what happens when you get older. You see a lot of shit, and then you second guess things, and you really think about certain things. But what's your opinion? Are you for marriage, or are you against marriage? Would you take the chance with the divorce rate being as high as it is? I'd love to know. Comment down below, like, share, whatever you want to do with the video. I appreciate it. Subscribe to my channel. If you subscribe to me, I'll subscribe to you. How's that? I'll make you a deal. Okay? So, y'all, have a fucking great day. And I'll talk to you real soon as always. Until next time, adios.